Welcome to everybody. My name is Ryte. I am working as export advisor for Enterprise Estonia. And today we will talk about how to enter and how to work on Norwegian market. What is important to know, especially on the construction infrastructure business. I have two companies that participate. It's Muro from Norway. I know guys from before, really professional, done very good business in Norway and still continue. Paavo, I know in some years as well from Sirkel Mall. Impressive results and really good knowledge. That's why I choose those companies and those persons to participate today. I will share now the presentation. Just a second. Can you see now the?
Yeah, we see.
Okay. Let's see. I just move your faces up. If it will be any questions, please use the chat. It's my first webinar, so I really ask about the kind of sympathy and understanding. Let's try to move forward. Agenda today, I will put a little bit about the situation in Norway. Then Muro will take a Norwegian view on the export to Norway. Then Paavo will tell his experience and his opinion and how to work there. And I will take a little bit about how the Lithuanian, let's say East European, feels in Norway in so many years. Because I'm somewhere between now after so many years in Norway. And I hope it will be some questions and some ideas for the coming webinars, because today we have very many participants actually, and maybe it will be necessary to do next webinar in smaller groups. But let's start today and see how it happens. Participants, as I told very shortly, Muro and Sirkel Mall. Me, I started in AS only in March, but I work with Estonian enterprises in a few years already. I'm Lithuanian, 50 years old, have 3 grown kids, and I'm professional in procurement since 1995. Last 10 years in technical purchasing, like building, construction, and infrastructure. There comes my experience from. That's why I choose this sector to start my webinars, because I feel at home there. The latest numbers in Norway is almost 8,000 positive cases, more than 200 unfortunately death. 81 is in the hospitals, and about almost 200 tested. More than 600 health workers in the quarantine. It's the numbers from yesterday, not from today. The economical situation, the most important things to know that Norwegian krone was very, very down compared to last year. It was on 13 compared to 10, and now it's on the 11. And it holds on 11 maybe last 4 or 5 weeks, isn't it, Norway?
Yes, you can say from the 1st of January, we have settled back Norwegian krone to euro, approximately 35% since 1st of January.
And the Norwegian bank did, the Central Bank of Norway, Norwegian bank as we call it, did a huge job to keep krona in kind of lower level.
Yeah, and we get some help from the oil price as well now in these days.
Yes. So this is in that way, and the number one employment is very high. It's almost 15%. Usually it's like 2-3%.
Yeah, 3%.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3, max 3.5. But this percentage, it's coming down soon. I think so, because the the panic about the coronavirus, it's out now. So they start to reopening Norway very carefully, under control. But as you can see, when I on the roads, it's a lot of cars now, and I couldn't see that business goes as usual, not, but it goes much better than comparing to end of March, let's say. So life is coming back to the normal in Norway.
Yeah. Step by step, I think, because I'm now traveling around the Norway and the western part of Norway now, and the building industry is going very well. I will come back to it, but if you're gonna buy some food, it's a problem. So I haven't been eaten for days because no restaurant is open. But I have something to. That's okay
you
for
must cook
me.
then. Not what you like. I think so. Yes, the most of restaurants close. Some cafes is open, but then they must to keep 1 meter between the guests.
Yep.
To be honest, nobody cares about this. I see the people sitting very close to each other and they're outside cafes, but maybe not that interesting by now for this presentation. Then I take the next one, and I don't want to read all these points. We will send you a presentation afterwards to everybody that want that. And then you can read much more. But the message from Norwegian government is they put a lot of money to the business that can survive with this money. And they put a lot of money to keep wheels going for the roads, for the construction, oil industry, all the sectors that makes working places. And help to the students, for example. They put a lot of money for people that they will educate now, take extra education, take extra courses, even get unemployment benefits under education that was not possible before. So they start they try to keep the positivity in the market as well. But as I told you, you will get all those things so we can read later on. On the construction, very quickly, put 1 billion Norwegian crowns to the project that can be started quickly. That means all those projects was in the plans, but they may become in 2, 3, 4 years. All the project that was kind of finished and can start now, they start now. They even admit the contracts to corona situation. Like corona situation is not a source of force majeure longer. They find a 0 point. That means that they evaluate consequences of corona in their contracts as well, like on the prices level and so on. And then all of the as well, they proposed to start 36 new blocks this year, what it wasn't on the plans. So in that way, they've tried to keep people at work. And then I think by now it's all from me. Now, Gunnar, it's your turn. Sorry about the photo, I didn't manage to put it.
Okay.
I close myself now, so you don't need to see me. Yes.
Okay, but I hope you can drive the PPT for me when I'm see next. Okay.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Welcome everybody. My name is Bjørn Arve. I have been working in this construction industry for more than 20 years now, in different kind of companies. In timber industry for the first 14 years, selling timber to the Norwegian market, called Royal, if someone know that. The next 10 years I will work as a director for Saint-Gobain, called Optimera Monter in Norway. Was the chef of B2B business. Turnover is 6.0 billion euros. And the last years as a sales director for Bergenholm, is a big company in Norway, selling timbers as well. My partner, Leif Arne, he's been working as B2C retail, been working at Big Market or Kesko, as you know, in Estonia, I think. He was director for a large bath company in Norway, and as well. We've known each other for 20 years, and we started then Muro, and yeah, and
I know you from Optimera time. Why you decide to start for yourself? It's the question.
Because when I was working, I get a lot of relation in the also Norway, in the industry in Norway, with NCC, with Veidekke, and everyone in the change as Big Market Messegruppen, and lots of relation abroad. I was been working in China, in Baltic, in Europe, and I saw lots of companies needed some help to get into the Norwegian market, because we have a small market, but we also think we have the best prices around the world, because the Norwegian people is traveling lots, and we have been traveling for maybe 60 years now, and testing the market, buying products from around the world. So I think lots of smaller company needed my expertise, and the same as Leif Arne told. So that's the reason why I started for myself.
Very nice.
Yes, and then I think it's if you have any question, send me a chat and I will answer that. Okay, we take the next one.
This one. There is a lot of information.
Yes. There's a lot of information, but I think it's really you have to know a little bit about the Norwegian market to enter the Norwegian market, and you have to be familiar with the names on the left-hand side. The left-hand side, it's the Norwegian building market with the change called Optimera, Messegruppen, and so on. That's the main actors in this market. I can tell a little bit about the largest one. It's Optimera, where I was working for 10 years. Optimera Saint-Gobain is the biggest player in the European market. Turnover for approximately to 200 billion euros. 200,000 employees, and it's the largest player in the Norwegian market. If you want to succeed with your products, this is the first you have to take a notice to.
But those Optimera, Messegruppen, and they can buy directly from Estonian companies, for example. They don't need to go first to Saint-Gobain, for example.
No, every country in Saint-Gobain or Messegruppen or Coop or Big Market have their own people doing business with the countries, with strategic partners, as maybe in timbers they do some business with the Saint-Gobain maybe, but not that's not the rules. The rules are every country is buying for themselves. So the Norwegian buyers, they go to Estonia. I've been there several times before myself to look at the different companies to see if we can do some business. It can be the windows or timber or everything produced from this country. So we travel around the world, look at the companies, do benchmark, of course, on several companies around the world. So this is the name you have to look at if you're going to do some business with the change in Norway, the building change, of course.
But how is the comparison last year, this year, and so on?
Say again, Rita.
How it's the numbers from last year and this year, and can you take this part about the building materials sale in Norway. It was growing enormous.
Yeah, in Norway, the last we have some financial crisis back in 2008, and from 2008 and from into this year we have a large volume wäxt. We go from approximately 5% each year in volume. So building industry is very big in Norway, and the Norwegian people using lots of money on their own houses. And in Norway we have something called cabins in the mountains or in the seaside, and that's very special if you compare with other European countries. So every people in Norway, they have their own house or flat, and they also have a next house called cabin in the mountain or on the seaside. So that's the reason we use a lot of money, because investment in property is a good advanced money used in Norway. It's very special.
And the statistics says that Norwegian use 25% of their incomes just to keep their houses and cabins, villas in a good shape. They do the reconstruction and or designing of their own house and homes very often. And you can imagine you use 4th part of your salary only for this every single month. That's a huge market.
Yeah, it's a very huge market, and then I will see and then you will see in the next slide, you will see a little bit more about it, because I will visualize the market in after Corona, COVID-19 come to Norway. You see the market is growing. So
you want me to go to next slide? Or
we can go to the next slide. This is very special, and the reason I take in the Norwegian map, because you have to, when you're gonna enter the Norwegian market, you have to look at the map and see what is this. Turn Norwegian upside down, you're gonna reach the southern part of Italy. Let's say if you point to Kristiansand, Ryte, yes, and you point to Kirkenes in the north. In car, you travel for 4 days. 4 days. If you travel 12 hours each day, you're gonna use 4 days.
It's 1,700 kilometers coastline.
Yeah,
1,700 kilometers coastline.
Yeah, that's the reason it's quite difficult to do business in Norway, because we have different culture as well. Because in the southern part of Norway, you have the population is living in the southern part and the eastern part of Norway. But the value of money is doing in the western part of Norway. The oil industry in Stavanger, in Bergen, in Ålesund, Kristiansund, etc. And the oil industry is now going in the north as well. So this is to explain, it's really difficult to enter the Norwegian market if you only think you're going to enter Oslo, because the headquarters can be in Stavanger, but we have of course airports, so you can take a fly, but problem is it's very small airports, and yeah, you have to use car. If you're going to reach the companies, you have to use car. Okay, a little back to the COVID-19.
Yes. I think you are driving so many kilometers, as much as I know.
Yeah.
Maybe you have the record at least in Optimera. You had the record for this.
I think I have the record now as well. I driving in every year. I drive, about 75 to 100,000 kilometers each year, only in Norway.
Yeah, I can imagine. But if the company want to enter Norwegian market, where shall they start? where the project is, where the money is. How can you describe in short way?
You have three possibilities to enter the Norwegian market. First, you have to think which product can I bring to the Norwegian market. If it's in the building industry, you can go to the building chain, of course, as Optimera, Byggmaker, or Kesko, as you know it. Then the headquarters stays in Oslo. So you go to Oslo and start in Oslo with the headquarters there, and you have to call to get a meeting. One company I was working with used 3 years to even get a meeting with Optimera. For me, I used only 3 days, of course, because I've been working there before. So Oslo, if you go for the headquarters, but the money is in the western part of Norway, starting in Stavanger, Bergen, yeah, and where Ryte is pointing with the pile now. Yes. Should I take some a little bit about what happened in Norway when the COVID-19 was entering Norway?
Yes, please.
You see, the domestic sale of building materials from the industry increased by 70.4%. It's quite a lot, and that's compared with March in 2019, and that's really interesting, because Norway was shutting down, but we see that B2B business was still going. So some concrete-based building materials increased with 3%, tree-based with 11.1%, and that's quite interesting. We see a little bit the same in April. I now have a meeting with the different chains now in these days, and the same in April, but we see some flat out in May. But that's something is very interesting. When B2B is slowing down, the B2C market is growing. So when you going to Norwegian B2C change as Ops Bygg or Coop, as I call them, so are they increasing more than 10% in B2C. So that's very interesting to know. So that's special with the Norwegian market. We have a big B2B business, of course, but when the B2B market is slowing up, we go into the B2C. And then we get the economic going forward. Because as Ryte told, we have using lots of money, 25% of our income, to do our cabins, flats, houses, etc., etc. Yes, next one. Okay. What's important to think about? And I know Paavo is going to talk about a little bit about it as well. So, but I can take it from my point of view. The majority sales go through the well-known building materials, going to the big changes, and to even get a meeting there, you have to know them. You have to get a relation. You have to offer products they want to buy, because the Norwegian buyers are so they have done so many benchmarking around the world, and maybe some of you guys have had a meeting with them as well. So you know that you have to offer first time best price, because they're going to benchmark it. So if you go to the Norwegian market, you have to get a thought about that's. Let me see. I get. Excuse me, I get a question here, so I can answer that afterwards. Yes, little bit. You have to think about the language and the business culture. The language, the Norwegian people know English quite good because we're starting learning English really early in the school. So we know the language. We speak lots of people speak many languages, but the language is not the problem. So if you speak English, that's okay. Some even speak the Baltic language, so that's not a problem. If you know the business culture as well, that's quite different from the Baltic, from the European, from the Asian market. Every market have some kind of business culture. So that then you have to learn about that and think about it. What is the special with the Norwegian business culture? We are quite not so formal, if you know what I mean. Maybe you can translate it, but we talk and do agreements, and then we don't try to trick each other, if you know. We have
my experience in Norway doing business there, it's easy to talk. It's easy to understand, and Norwegians usually is very direct, and they tell you this price is not good, or
yeah.
I don't need this product, and they really mean it. But if they say it's interesting, then you can start to do the business. So it's not like a secret language or some hidden messages there. At least not a lot, or at least not in construction. There are people very busy. They have no time for empty messages.
No, and if you say one price, so if a Norwegian guy say that's the price for the products, that's what I buy today, you can believe it. They don't try to trick you. They say that is the price. We have no time to discuss and try to do some new business. So that's the price. That's the quality. That's the rules of engagement. So yeah.
It's very important to do homework and not to come with like 3 levels of the prices. If you give, now it's my part, like Lithuanian here. If you give the price and go down very quickly, 15%, then as Norwegian buyer, I think you didn't respect me. Do you understand what I am telling? Give the price you really can sell, and maybe 5%, maybe find the best solution later, but not to try to sell like 50%. Even 15, it can be too much.
Yes, it's too much, and they never gonna trust you again. I promise. And then you have to use some time to get known with the Norwegian laws and special rules. Norway have lots of laws, and then in the building industry you have to know them, because if you don't know them, you can really get end up bad, because you can get some daily taxes. They can use it very much special to the construction companies. So you have to use some time or use Norwegian people who know the laws to do the business with them. Yeah, I already spoke a little bit about it, that the Norwegian building matter and change are very well oriented about every country's price level. They travel around the world, going to trade fairs everywhere, in Asia, in eastern part of Europe, in Baltic, of course, in Russia. So and in the southern part of America, so they know the price level very, very good. So if you come in the Norwegian market, you didn't check the prices, then you have to go back home and do your lesson again. Yeah, they use very benchmarking against countries, against different parts of the world, because we know that some part of the world are very good to produce some kind of products. So we use a lot of times to do that benchmark. You can, for example, timber. We know, of course, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and some part of Baltic have lots of good timber. But the biggest countries is, of course, the three first, producing and selling and exporting around the world. It's very expected that the price and quality meets the Norwegian requirements. It's very, very important to know. And delivery times, we have to trust them. I can say something. One country, the Norwegian, almost not buying from, is Italy. And that's the reason we can't trust the delivery times. So Norway, yeah, maybe buy some tails and that's it. Of cars, of course, but that's another story. But that's really you have to stand with the delivery times. If you try to trick the delivery times, you will have daily fines. Use it as a sensation. So you have to think about that as well. And as I told, it's very network based. If you don't know the right people, you have to use years to get a meeting, to even get a meeting. And lots of Norwegian small companies meet the same problem. As I told you, some smaller companies use 3 years to even get a meeting with Sankobä. So that's a little bit because you have to know the people who is doing the business. You have to use time. You have to invest in time. You have to invest in lots of use patience, or you can also use people who know the business. So it's up to you to do what you think is the best.
Is it right that it's important, let's say, if you or another person or another company helps to come to Norwegian market, that you can guarantee the quality of the materials? Let's say it's a timber, then you go first to the company and see about the production and help them to understand what is necessary in Norwegian market. Then you can stay like a guarantee that the quality is against the quality is like it's necessary in Norway, because it can be the best quality in Estonia but doesn't fit in Norway.
Maybe, and maybe the Estonian quality it's better than the Norwegian market demands. So I think but I think it's very reasonable to and necessary to for me, if I'm gonna do some business with an Estonian company going to Norway, I always go to the company to help to say the Norwegian rules, the Norwegian quality, the Norwegian prices, because I'm quite familiar with that because I've been working in this business so long. So yes, I think it's necessary to do that. Okay. I have got message here.
Do you want to answer your questions now?
Yeah, I can do that. If you don't have anything else?
No, it's only your contacts. The next one, I can keep this one.
Yeah.
And if you would like to take your questions now, I think it's reasonable to do.
Yes. Building and the question says, did the building materials, did the growth mainly came from Norwegian-based products, local producers, as the NOK is all-time low. No, at that I can say it's not from only the Norwegian producers. I represent one company from Austria and one company from Denmark, and they have the all-time high turnover in Norway in March and April. So it's not only the Norwegian producents, no, it's from everywhere. But we can use we higher the prices when the euro is, or let me see, we higher the prices when the NOK is so low. So then we have to higher our prices maybe 10-15% in this time. So I hope that was the answer of the question.
But is it like this? And let's say I buy something for my home, in Optimera or Monter.
Yep.
To be honest, I didn't care so much if it's come from Estonia or from Latvia or from Norway. No. I trust Monter, I trust Optimera, or I trust Coop.
Yep.
That's the point, because I know they do the quality check.
Yep.
So that's important to understand. Of course, some producers, Norwegian producers, taking like Norwegian quality and so on, and I totally agree. The quality is very high in Norway, or everything is produced, but it's not Norwegian materials. You can say main part in Coop or Optimera or Monter.
No. The Norwegian producers are very small, because the Norway was until 1997 we produced lots of products in Norway, but from 1997 it's a bit too costly, because the salary was going up so much. So from 1997 we was going abroad and buying products around the world. So I think in Norway now, in the building industry, maybe let me see, we have timber as the biggest, of course, Norwegian produced, but we have to buy from Finland and Sweden as well. But I think maybe the Norwegian producers are 30%, and the rest is from abroad, export.
Import. I think it's somewhere there. It depends on which material, but it's somewhere there. Yes. So it's a lot of possibilities in Norwegian market. Just comment the right way.
Yeah. Lots of possibilities in Norway.
Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I have one more question there.
Yes, please.
I get a question if I know construction companies that build house and or factories, and how they're holding up. I know they in this time they are some of them having problems. The market is going back with over 50% from March to May, but some of them, and depends in which part of Norway you are building in. So you can say in the eastern part of Norway with Oslo and that, it's Lillehammer in the we call it Hedmarken Oppland, the part of Norway calling Innlandet, that's standing still, cabins, houses, little to small. In the western part of Norway, it's not so big problem now. It's plus minus zero. But I think we will see something else the next month, Depends on how the government is willing to do with the opening of the market. So yeah, so house companies, it's quite interesting to see what happens in the near future. In the longer terms, I think it's no problem, because in Norway we're building too small. We're building approximately 20,000 flats too little per year.
Björn, can you mention the biggest name in this industry, like Triselhus or no, Obos?
The biggest is Mestergruppen's houses, Mesterhus, Obos, Block Vatne. Also Obos Block Vatne is the same company now. You have Norgeshus and Blinkhus, ESC-hus. Yeah, so lots of companies building houses. And you have, of course, Veidekke, NCC, AF-gruppen, Peab, who are building flats in the biggest towns in Norway.
Okay, good.
And them I know quite a lot, because they were my customers when I was working in Optimera. So yeah, Norgeshus, Vestlandshus was my partners, and that's the same as NCC Veidekke, who was my customers when I was working in Optimera.
Some other questions, Björn, or I can go to...
No.
If it comes some questions, so we can take at the end also, if something comes later. When Paavo, are you ready soon?
I'm ready.
Björn, can we leave you now?
You can leave me. Thank you.
You are staying with us.
Yeah, I will stay with you. And if you have some question, you can send me on my email or call me. I'm working 24/7, so that's not a problem.
I can send under this. Please use his.
I saw also
knowledge.
Björn has a LinkedIn account as well, so I hope you use it. So
yeah. Let's see. Then I go to the next one, and then it's Paavo turn. I mute myself.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Paavo, and I like to call myself export chef in Norway. So I've done the work there 6-7 years already. So, and it's a tough market, so it needs some time to get used to this market. So the export is difficult anyway, but especially to Norway, it's extra difficult. So today I'm also representing Estonian digital construction cluster. I'm doing export there as well. So just as a teaser, I'm telling that we have 200,000 euros to share to those partners who want to do export to any country, not only to Norway. So be our member and get part of this support. But yes, I'm not exporting any goods or materials. I'm exporting service, designing service. And this is maybe even more difficult for Norwegians to understand, because there's nothing to present, just some references. And also the designing price compared to the construction price is so small that if you give some discount there or the price is cheaper, it doesn't affect the total building price. So the price is not an argument in my business. But it's still possible to export design. So let's go forward with the presentation then. And now comes the practical remarks about export to Norway from my experience. So these are mostly similar that Björn already told you, but there are some differences as well. But first, my experience is that when the company owner or the leader is ready for export and telling to people that, okay, let's export to Norway, this is a decision and we start next year. So I can tell you that this is not enough. So you have to prepare your whole company. The mindset of the people, the product must be not good enough, but the requirements must be filled so you can sell it to the Norwegian market. And but mainly the mindset. If people don't understand why we're selling to Norway, and they don't prepare themselves to do export, it's very difficult for only one person, owner or the CEO, to do the export. And of course, export to Norway means consistent work for many years. So most people give up after a couple of months. They tell, okay, I didn't find any clients, so they are so passive. So let's go forward, find another market. But this is the market. So sometimes you have to wait years to access to some clients, and just to have to be patient and consistent. There is of course a lot of stress about it, because usually they don't answer, and you feel that they don't want you there, and you feel that your product is not good enough there, but it just takes time. But in this case, you also have to remember that Norway is importing a lot, especially construction materials, which makes them the best importers in the world. And they know the sales tricks, what you are trying to use, especially the simple ones. So the best is to be honest and to listen them, to find out what they actually want. And then if you have this product or service, then you can sell. Otherwise, if you start to bend your service or product and want to be on their buying map, so it's difficult. Also, you have to remember that mostly or 99% of the case, your product is not so special and they don't miss it. So they already have a similar one or even the better one. So when you start to sell, you just have to be patient and wait your time when you can sell your product. And this is not a mistake, but many companies, when they start with export, they hire an export manager. So the cost of this person is quite high, and also traveling and also the marketing cost, it can end up easily 50,000 euros a year. And with 1 year, nothing happens usually in Norwegian market. It takes several years there. So this is a cost you have to consider to go in Norwegian market. And sometimes it's easier to test the market and find some service offer. So there are many companies who offer their service to help you to get to the Norwegian market. So why not to use them? They know the language, they know the market already, so they just have to know your product to start selling. And also it's important to make research and set realistic targets, as Björn told earlier about the prices. So they know your price. By multiplying it, it doesn't give any effect. They know their price all over the world, basically. So the best target is the strategy is just to sell with the price you calculate on your own. And where is your profit there? Where is your cost? And then, of course, compare it to the price that other competitors can offer. So,
sorry, Paavo,
yep.
Just one comment.
Yep.
Many of producers, or let's say companies that come to Norway, must be ready to tell actually what is their profit there, or how the price is built up. Let's say this is for the transport, this is for my profit, this is for the administration of the companies. That was the usual question I asked my suppliers, to understand if we can save the money, or if they have enough money, let's say, for the management of the project. Mm-hmm. So it's important to do this homework and not to try just tell the truth, to be honest. Norwegian, as you mentioned it once, they actually care that their suppliers earn the money.
Yeah. It
is important to understand. If you have like 10 or 20 or 25 or 30% profit, voila, just do it. We'll be happy, because then you want to work with me the next project and the next project. I don't want you to go bankrupt.
Yeah, that's true. Most Norwegian companies, they care about the profit, what their subcontractors are earning, and they want to see a plus profits there, not minus, because they know that when this chain is broken, so they will lose their money also. Or when you cannot deliver materials anymore because you put too low price, then they have troubles as well. So they want to avoid this.
And we use a lot of time to start to work with companies, foreign companies, with all the companies, Norwegian as well. The new supplier takes time, and the time is most expensive thing in Norway, working hours. So when I do this job, so I really want to do it properly and to understand if the company have the perspective to work in many years with.
Yeah, but it's quite often what happened is that the product price is okay, but the transportation is ruining the business, and it has happened so many times. And also the currency can ruin the business. It has happened now, for instance. So I have one example when the Holocaust slabs, the concrete elements, were cheaper than the transport, but the total price was still acceptable for the client. But client just couldn't understand why the price, how the price can be so low that even the transportation price is higher. So these are the risks there, that you have to not only calculate your own price, the product price, but the transportation. So, but let's go forward with the language and culture preferences. So I have studied Norwegian language a bit, and I can read and understand and speak also minimum. I know it, I feel it shows some respect to the customers, and it means for them that I'm focused on the Norwegian market, that I'm not just trying to, I'm not try the market once with English, but I'm consistent and want to be there for a longer period. But the minimum what everybody can do is to learn the pronunciation rules. I have an example when the Estonian company is putting them a Norwegian name and pronounce it not correctly. So this is can be a red light for the clients. But the language is not maybe so important as Björn told me earlier, because everybody speaks very good English there. So even my experience is that it's difficult to speak Norwegians with them because they turn to English immediately when they realize that you are not Norwegian.
That's very true. They're very kind people. They switch to English immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
They feel that you are more comfortable with English. It's true.
And my fear, of course, is when I'm speaking with the Norwegians, they think that my product or service is as bad as my language. So then I try to keep it in English. So then at least they can accept more. So, and we talked about with Ryte already about this business culture. It's more advanced because they have had longer periods doing business. We have only less than 30 years. So they have more than, I don't know, 100 years. So they know this win-win or happy is preferred. And Norwegians are the only who has offered or asked me, Paavo, do you earn enough profit here? So I haven't met this attitude in Estonia. When some company asks me, Paavo, is the price okay? Do you earn profit here? So they see it differently. And also good advice from my side is how the Norwegians see us. We in Estonia, we are thinking that they see us as Estonians, but they don't. They see us as a Baltic country, or they see us together with the Polish people and or the post-Soviet or some part of the Europe. They don't see us as Estonians. And what can be our bigger mistake is that we start to compare or fight the export with Estonian companies. But the competition is not Estonian companies. The competition is the whole world, basically, but the closest countries to us, Polish country, Poland, all the Baltic states, even Russia. So they are our competition, but we are putting so much effort to fight with the Estonian companies. And we feel very good when our revenue is a little bit bigger than the other Estonian company revenue. So this can be changed maybe in the future. Okay, Ryte, you can put another slide if it's possible. Yeah, this is the competitors part. Already told that don't compete with Estonian companies, rather cooperate with them and share contacts and share clients. My experience is that there are contacts what I have in Norway, and these contacts, they don't buy design service, but they are interested to buy like wooden elements, for instance. So the contact is in my list and I can do the introduction, and it's easy for some companies to access to the market through this contact. And there are many other contacts in other salesman portfolios which can be useful for me and maybe not so useful for them. So it's wise to share and create a bigger market for everybody. And also about Norway's, you have to wait your opportunity. Norwegians, they care about price, but if your price is lower a little bit, but they have a reliable partner already, they will not change it. They will not change the partner because of the price. But you just have to wait, and maybe the partner is the quality goes down, or they make some mistake, or the client want to expand their service and the partner is not enough. So you have to be on the picture for them, and finally they find you and start make business. But the average is for me is 1 year. 1 year takes when Norwegians feel that okay, you have sold enough, I might try your product. And some selling tips as well. As I told earlier, Norwegians know our price. There's no point to multiply it by 2. I had experience once when I asked a construction price, the building price, and the answer was 2 million. Then I asked, okay, can you do it with 1 million? I said, yeah, okay, I can do it in 1 million as well. So, but this is no for Norwegians, and they don't take you seriously if you're dividing your price by 2 if they want, or multiplying in the beginning by 2. So this is not okay. And also direct sales is difficult for them. They have some allergy to salespeople already, because as I told you, they are the best importer, and not only Estonians but other countries as well. They want to sell them, and it means that they have a lot of calls from abroad, which starts with the sentence that hello, my name is this and I have this product, and probably it's better than you are using right now, and I'm cheaper as well. So there are a lot of this, and also the emails. There are many emails for the persons who are responsible of the import in the same manner. So you have to be a friend with them, get to know them, and then start the selling, and also not selling, but providing them materials or services which they don't have or they actually need. Because it's another topic. It's the ABC for the selling is listen more and speak less, because eventually the client will tell you what they actually want, and you are happy when you have this product or service on your list. If you don't, there's no point to go forward and force them to buy something what you have. And what I have done with all my clients, especially in Norwegian clients, I use the CRM system, and that's how I build up my future sales. I put down all the contacts there and mark the activity as well. So it sounds stupid in the first day or first year, but after a couple of years, you see the progress there, and you see your contact base, and you see connections there in between there. So it's very useful. That's what I recommend. Don't use just a calendar or notebook for your to paper form notebook, because it's a lost information. And if you start your export and you feel that your product is not big enough, the transportation will kill the price, or your product is just so cheap or small in quantity that even the sales trip will ruin the price, then consider the joint export. Contact with Enterprise of Estonia and ask them who are the companies who are exporting the similar stuff, and try to contact to them and try to sell together with these products. Because also what I have realized that customers usually they want to buy the bigger chain of products from one supplier, not only one piece, because the bigger chain means that the responsibilities is in one place and not divided to many companies. And another advice is if you enter the market and you list down your possible customers and you see that the top customers you really want to sell, so leave them for the last and start with those companies who possibly not buy from you. So then you practice your selling speech, then you get to know what they actually want. And when you're ready, then take your best customers and try to sell them.
Totally agree with you, Paavo. Then the Estonian companies not only get to know the culture and language, but they get to listen to their questions. They know then they can go home, do homework, and come back with all the answers for the big companies as well.
Exactly. That's totally correct. Because if you make a bad impression in the first meeting, then it takes 2 to 4 years when you can enter again and tell that, okay, we have changed. Otherwise, after a couple of months, there's no point to call them again. And what I have used a lot is LinkedIn. There are many Norwegians who are using LinkedIn, and this is the easiest way to access them and to make the first impression. Just to put them on your contact list, write small comment that how do you know them or why do you want to know them, and then they have time to make a small research about you, and you can start your conversation from there. And another tip is if you have already customer, then there's no point to find another one independently. Try and ask referrals. Because probably they know somebody who might be interesting of your product as well. So, and as also Björn told, that the market is very connected, and connections are the key to enter the market. So it's always the best phone call starts with I'm calling you because I got your number from your friend who told that you might be interested. So this is the best call, because then they have obligation to at least listen you. There's a trick, of course. You might not ask, do you know anybody? But you might start that, of course you know somebody. Can you point me out some names? Or you can use the LinkedIn already, find names from there and just point out, what do you think if I call to like Ole? Might he be interested? Then he said, yeah, you can call to Ole. But to Ole, you can already tell that I got your contract from this and this. And so it's easy. It makes the process much easier. Okay, these are the short overview about strategy, how to sell to Norway. Of course, there are a lot more. So if anybody interested, can contact me personally, and we can speak by phone, and no problem. And also, I just remind you that we have this digital construction cluster, and we have money there. The main topics, we are supporting the companies to get ready for Norwegian market. It means that all the paperwork and translation of the web page and so on and so on. So if you enter the market, Norwegian sees you that you are prepared. You are not a regular Estonian company.
So, did you got any questions, Paavo, on the chat?
Okay, I see also, yeah, I see questions here.
Just choose this what you want to answer.
So these are maybe not, these are not for me, maybe Björn can answer. It was already domestic materials, it was. So, and I have...
I am sitting typing now, so I will answer everyone.
Okay.
Very nice. Good. Is it any question directly to you, Paavo?
No, there are mostly maybe to you or to Björn.
Okay. I didn't read any questions, so no sense to do it. Just checking. I will read and answer all the questions later on because now I must manage this webinar and the presentation. Anything else from you?
Yeah, there are a lot of information, but because our participants are so have different backgrounds, so these are the overall points. Maybe many of them are already heard, but if you want to go to details, it's wise that the participants will contact me directly.
But so, I can tell when I met Paavo, this I think that was next time. Then it was not in Estonia; it was already in Norway. He told me that how they started to do business in Norway. They tried a while around Oslo and Trondheim and several big cities. It doesn't work. Then they certainly got a project very north. Is it true?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the North Norway is different Norway totally than the Oslo region.
Yeah, that was much easier, and they went directly to the owner of the project, to the owner of the real estate there, and even propose or give the offer with much better solution.
Yeah.
And you calculate the transport by the sea. It was also much cheaper. So it was, you call it win-win. I like happy. So I think it was happy, and then start those projects go on. So find your niche, find where you can really enter the market and not be afraid to try different ways.
Yeah, but still you have to be ready that even if you have the best price and best quality, you still don't get the job. So this is
agree.
So,
it can be many disappointments, or you can be lucky from the day one.
Yeah.
Here I come to my part where I would say in my work like as a export advisor, I use the one phrase for Estonian export. It's not cheap, but it's much more for the money. So if you understand what I mean, your price is not cheap. It's because it's not, but you can give much more for the money. Like back to the Paavo example, his price was not cheap, but he gave good advice, much more engineering. Let's see, the time that cost a lot in Norway for him was already done. So find the things you give additional to your price, and to understand what is important for Norwegian market. Then we must make maybe another webinar, or you can contact Paavo and webinar to understand what it actually more for the money for Norwegian company. I can point some points, but it's still a very long discussion.
Yeah, well, I can give one example that when I'm selling, when I'm telling to a client that okay, usually the project design project costs 100,000 euros, but from me you can get it with 90,000. So it's 10,000 euros. It doesn't affect the price. But my selling strategy is that when you are choosing me, I can lower the construction price by 3%. And this is it means that they can win like 100,000 euros easily. Basically, they get the design for free, because when I can affect the construction price, this is what interests them.
A lot, because the price for the engineering or consultants or the architectural, it's very expensive in Norway. I think we in Norway agree with this. If you can get this part done by professional in the a normal price, it's already a big step forward.
Yeah.
But of course, you must to prove that your quality is good enough, not in the way you do wrong job, but you really know, let's say, with design, what is Norwegian rules, what is text 17, for instance. So all those things we must to take a practical next time. Now it's maybe I try my part now, and we can start with questions later on if it comes. As you understand, I'm Lithuanian. I'm in Norway since 2006, so it's quite a long time. And I feel like I'm somewhere in between. I'll say I understand Norwegian, but I feel very well for the East European temperament as well. And this is important for you to understand that you must accept the variances and respect the differences. You must understand that Norwegian market is not the same. It's not EU rules that is here. Some yes, but not the whole one. You must find your differences and make it for the profit, or change it, because it's very conservative and very protected market. Norwegian did everything to protect their market and get only Norwegian workers and only Norwegian products on the market. But it's impossible to serve the construction and building with only Norwegian materials and workers. That's why they accept that. But let's say if the company comes to Norway and start to work on site, I can promise you will get a labor inspection in few days, and they will check all the documents, all the rules if you follow. If not, out of the country. So please be careful if you want to give the also working hours on the site. Really do your homework to understand that protected market, and they do everything. They are not against foreign people. I am here, as you know, but they are against foreign people that work too cheap. That then they are competitors. Let's say if I get the same salary as Norwegian, they am not competitor. If I work like 50% lower salary, they am competitor. So they understand this part. They are not against they are not nationalistic, not yet. Thanks God, but they really protect the market, and you must follow all the rules and pay the same salary and give the same benefits to your workers if they work on site. Which is, again, it's a very long and difficult discussion. And then I say, don't try to be Norwegian in Norway or only Estonian in Norway. Find your way, find the best things you can combine in your business, in your business language. It's nothing wrong if you have a joke about, let's say, the difference between East European and Norwegian. They take it very easily. As Bjørn Arve told, Norwegian people are very direct and they accept you as you are, but they also want you show the respect as well. So try to find to mix the best, try to do your best mix of the countries and cultures. Patient, ice in the stomach, as Norwegian saying, was mentioned twice already. What I saw as a buyer, the companies that come to Norway and start to telling Norwegian how to work, they not succeed. So don't try to do that. Be here, prove your quality, prove your competence, then they will ask you how to do it a better way. Because it's full possible your working way or the quality is much better, but they didn't buy this like this. So don't try to be critical or to be one that knows everything. In Norway it's called besteviser. Nobody likes people like this. That's mostly all for me. The main point: not try to sell your company or your products as a cheap. Give more for the money. That's my main message for today. I really would like to use more time with the guys to answer your questions, because me you have for every day you can write me an email and so on. But here's the sources I used for my part. You will get it and you can just check it, and most of them is Norwegian that you can find in English. And here's my contact. But let's come back to the questions, guys. You have something?
I think I answered everyone.
Yes. Was it any questions exciting, more interesting than ever?
So yeah, I know the Estonians, they want to ask when the session is over. This is the common way. But it's okay also because the companies are so different. So the overall questions may be now already answered already. So, but all the details when somebody have, or I can help them. So just contact me.
Is it any question that you want to answer by now?
There's nothing for me, and Björn already answered all these questions, I understood.
Yeah. And the easiest way to contact me if someone is interested is to send me an email, because I travel a lot, so I have to take the email in the evenings. So, or you can call me because I'm taking the phone. So, but send me an email or call me, so I answer in the evening.
And also, I saw that Björn, you also have a LinkedIn account.
Yep.
Yeah. So I already.
And I already answered your Paavo.
Here can you see all the links or the contact information. What if you do a summary for the meeting today now, Björn? What you can suggest for the Estonian company, like in 3 points? What is most important to understand?
If you take back to the links you have with go back to the links, and I tell some tips and tricks then. The first I will use bygg.no.
Me too.
Yeah, that's everything. What's happening in the Norwegian building industry is standing in bygg.no. And maybe you can get it on English as well. I don't know.
Yes,
but
I think so. It's only the translation is in made by Google, but it's not difficult to understand. It's quite professional translation. You can put on English there. I use a lot. It's all the or most of the projects ongoing, coming, finished, contracts. You can really understand market a lot if you read this properly, and you can make abonnement. You can get email every single morning. As for me, it's like morning's reading from the coffee. It is for free. Then you have a summary of main news.
Yeah, and everyone in Norway working at the higher level using bygg.no to get informed. You can get some information about the people, project, and everything you told Ryte.
But it's not a tender. You must understand. We will have another webinar about the tenders, where to find them, how to read them, how to answer. It's not Dauphin, it's not MSL. It's just general information for most of them. Yes, sorry, continue.
Yep. And the next you have to look at yourself and think, is this product something for the Norwegian market? So because as we already told you, the Norwegian market is working with every country in the world. So you have to look in the mirror and think, is this something for the Norwegian market? Quality, prices, etc., etc. And then the third one, do some research about the Norwegian contacts using Paavo, Muro, or use some time on the Norwegian market before you entering it. Because if you're entering it too soon, I think it's going to be maybe a disaster. But if you use some time, use contacts, Ryte, Paavo, Muro, or someone who knows the Norwegian market, I think you can get lot of profits, because the Norwegian market is it's very, they want to use money on good products and good firms. Yeah, so that I think it's the most important points to start with.
Thank you so much, Bernardo. Paavo, it's your turn.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about how Norway is fighting with this virus, and I can assure that the problem is not the money there. So they are putting a lot of money into the market, and I hope it helps to come back to the situation where it was before the crisis. The only problem today is the administrative problem. So to cope with the virus and the new situation, it takes time. I've heard that this NAV don't have enough people to share out the money, and also the communities, and so it takes time for them to help the companies. But they have promised to help them, as you Ryte in earlier told, that there are a lot of money put into the industry, also the construction industry. So I think that Norway is a difficult place to be, to do export, but it's also a very safe place to be. If you get your contacts working there, so it's wise to be there and share the risk what you have here in Estonia.
Very nice, Paavo. When I was talking, I just remember the main things about Estonian companies I had on my project in NCC, because I was working in NCC out to the building sites. And all the companies that succeed had the two things: the best workers and the best management, project management. That companies that didn't succeed, they had bad project manager. They still had the best people on the on site and did a really good job, but the problem was documentation, management. People doesn't actually, they wasn't on the building site, and I must then to manage the people on the site. So then we never ever do the contract with them again, unfortunately. So my suggest, if you have the project in Norway, please be here, come here, talk with people, talk with your people, talk with people from Norway, visit the project site as much as possible. Use your time, because it's a best learning by doing on the projects. Then you understand how it works. Then you get a next project on to be on the project, because then you know the project manager, and next project he will be happy to have you on his second project, because they like it. So my suggestion, not think that you got a project then it's done. No, as we say in Norway, the hell is just begin. So be careful about this.
And also, Ryte, I know that the problems always occur during the construction process, but what matters is how you solve them, how it looks in the end. So if you hide and you don't take responsibility, this is the worst case. Yeah. But if you solve them fast, then they forgive you and you get another opportunity.
That's totally agree. To be honest, I measure some companies, how they solve the problems. Because the problems is always there, and if they solve the problem in the good manner one or twice, so I do not trust them.
Yeah, that's true.
I think so that it's all for today. We have 5 minutes left. Any questions, Mari? Can you participate now and tell us everything is okay, or?
Yeah, everything seems to be okay.
Very nice. I just want to thank you, especially you, Mari, for all your patience. All the work you've done. Thank you so much. And thank you, Ilaria. I don't know if you hear me, for the help understanding yesterday, and for Svein, my boss, also for the help and implements. now. Björn-Arve, Paavo,
Yeah,
I
thank you
hope I
for
see you
inviting me.
soon in Norway or in Tallinn. I don't know.
As soon as they open the border. So
Yeah, let's say. I really enjoyed the time we worked on this presentation, and it worked very well. And I'm sure we have much more webinars to go together.
hopefully.
Hope so. Hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye
Have
bye.
a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.